Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the fantasy football counselor, in the studio online here with Tom Santanello. What's going on, Tom?
What's going on?
Fire and Ice show. We're talking preview for NFL Week 7, man. I'm ready to roll with this, Tom.
Already Week 7.
Already, man. Before we get into that, guys, smash thumbs up, leave some starts and sits questions below. I'll try to get to as many as I humanly possibly can and get your Manscaped Trimmer 3.0. Use promo code SHOWERLION below and join me in Flick Chat. There's also a link below in immersive sports chat app. I chat with you during games, guys, and I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun. So make sure you guys do that. Links are below here on YouTube or follow my Instagram. All the links are there. All right, Tom, so let's talk about it. I don't want to spend too much time here on the Thursday night football game because, to be honest with you, I don't really want to watch this one. Giants and Eagles.
I mean, it's a division game.
I don't care
who's all in the division. They're all up for the title this week.
They are 1-5. 1-5 Giants, 1-4 Eagles. Eagles are the 4.5-point favorite, being that they are at home. What a disaster of a game. Again, I will not be watching this one, Tom. I mean,
yeah, but you know what? One game, a win here puts you in what, second place, a game out or something, or in first place? I mean, it's out of control.
Out of control, man. Who's going to win this one? Let's just get right to it because I'm not going to watch it, so I don't really care about this one. You got to talk about it.
You know, the Eagles, I took them last week plus 10. You have to say the Eagles. I mean, you really have to say that. But the Giants got their first win. Well, Washington, I mean, that was yeah, you're right. It's a disaster. I mean,
disaster of a game.
Cowboys are 2-4 at the top. Eagles are 1-4-1. I mean, Giants, they win this game. They're 2-5, and then they're in first place if the Cowboys lose. It's out of control. I'm going with Philadelphia. Yeah, I mean, Wentz, you know, he played a little better last week, but they missed some balls. And unfortunately, you know, your guy, Carson Wentz, is a little, he just looks like he's just like, you know, muscling through.
I told you, man, he's going to be on the radar. The only reason I'm going to be watching this game is so I can jump on here and talk about what a big waste of money Carson Wentz was when he craps the bed this game. I'm going to root for the Giants on this one. That's what I'm doing.
Really?
I'm rooting for the Giants.
I just don't think they have injuries. I mean, so is Philly, but they don't have a lot of talent in New York. I'm going Philadelphia just because they're better.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move on here. Sunday games. We got Steelers and the Titans, 1:00 game. This game I'm looking forward to, and you got to give credit where credit is due to Tom. 2-point favorite are the Steelers, and you know what? Titans are playing really, really good. Derrick Henry running well. You know, Ryan Tannehill running well. Steelers, Chase Claypool, they found their wide receiver one. A lot of people debate it's Juju. It's not Juju, it's Claypool. And I mentioned Claypool or Deontay would break out. Sure enough, it's Claypool as the guy. What do you think of this matchup?
I mean, this matchup, I'm taking the Steelers. I know it's on the road. I mean, home field doesn't mean as much as it used to this year. But the Steelers have a better defense. Their offense is balanced. Tennessee's been playing well. But, you know, they've had a lot of close games. They're winning them this year. Last year, they were flip-flopping them. You know, they should have lost against Houston. But Houston has a terrible D. I think Pittsburgh wins this game by a touchdown.
Yeah, I see that. It's going to be a good game. And Tennessee's at home on this one. So I mean, they have a little bit of an edge, but again, home doesn't really make a difference this year, does it?
A little bit if it maybe the traveling and other stuff. You know, some teams are allowed to have more fans than others, but I think down here in Florida, they opened up the entire stadium. Not that they're filling it, but
right.
I just think Pittsburgh's a better team. I know everyone's on the Tennessee bandwagon this year. They look the same to me as last year, except they're winning those close games. Tannehill's, you know, he's been efficient. I know you have a man crush on him, and yeah, I mean, I don't say I respect that yet, but hey, he's playing okay.
He's doing good.
But this will be a good test because a lot of people are saying now, and we'll go over it at the end. We're going to give our top 3 to 5 power teams for the power rankings. A lot of people are saying Pittsburgh's number 1 right now in that power ranking.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I see it.
Yeah, a lot of people saying Pittsburgh's number 1.
All right, how about Atlanta and Detroit here? I mean, Atlanta finally winning. They're at home. Red hot Matt Ryan on a roll here. You know, Lions underdog here, 2.5 points favorite for Atlanta being at home. You would think that the Lions are the favorite here. They got a better record.
Yeah, the Lions you know, they got a win last week, a much needed win. They got a couple wins on the season. Atlanta put up 40 points last week. Maybe they got a little spark from the new coach. Well, he was just their DC, kind of just got elevated. But, you know, Atlanta has no defense. Detroit is more balanced. I'm going with Detroit on the road. I think they're a better football team. I don't think, you know, I watched Gurley play a little bit. He doesn't just, I don't know, he doesn't have that burst. He just doesn't have what he
No.
used to have at all.
He
And
looked kind of bored. He honestly looked kind of bored. Like he wasn't into it. They keep bringing in Brian Hill, and what pisses me off is Brian Hill fumbles and they bring him back in. Like I
yeah,
don't
Gurley
understand.
still had 20 carries though. He had his chances. You know, the thing that you got to watch with the Falcons is I was saying this before they got fired that, you know, they're going to have to get rid of some veterans. It's the problem is they fired their GM, so they don't have a GM for next year. So I don't know who's really making the decisions. I think Rich McKay is the president, but I don't know what they're going to do. They can get some value for some of these veterans right now if they
Right.
want to really tank or kind of like, listen, the season's lost. Get rid of a couple guys. Are they going to do that? Eventually, they're going to have to, I think.
So there's no coming back from 1-5.
Not if you're the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, the only team to me that had a chance at that would be the Texans, just because of their division and they got an easier schedule. But in the Texans, I think, are a better team. But I don't think I don't know, coming back from 1-5 is, you know, is hard. But there's a 7th seed for the playoffs this year, so anything's possible. You know, you're probably going to have to go 8-2 down the stretch, right? 9-7, sneak in the playoffs, maybe.
Right.
So I'm taking Detroit. I think they're a better balanced team, but this game is I bet you the over's pretty high, right? 57. Yeah, that's high.
Yeah.
So, who you
Yeah.
got?
People expecting a huge game. So yeah, I don't know. Falcons, they're hot now. And I think a lot of people saying Julio was the factor with Matt Ryan.
I don't think they're hot. I just think they put up points last week. And I think Detroit, DeAndre Swift, I've been saying get him involved, get rid of the aging. You know, these aging running backs aren't any good. Adrian Peterson just slows them down. They got Swift involved. He put up a breakout game. Now, I'd be very disappointed if they do not get him involved next week.
I agree. He
Or
did
this-
really good. He's
Yeah.
hot. He's hungry. Peterson's got to go. He's got to go.
Yeah. I mean, Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson, like, why?
I know. Move on.
It doesn't make any sense. And those guys aren't even cheap. The veteran minimum is going to be close to $1 million, right? Set 800 to $1,000 to a minimum. Like, just put it in. Like, at least Jacksonville's undrafted rookie runs better than that, you know. And they're not even playing that good.
I know. James Robinson's been doing good. The hunger, right?
But just even for the price, half the price, you get a guy who's faster, hungrier, stronger.
That's true. Yeah,
You know?
I agree.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm just going to take Detroit.
Yeah. All right. Cleveland Browns and the Bengals, another divisional game, AFC North. Browns 4-2, Bengals 1-4-1. I mean, the Browns had a terrible game last week, but again, I guess it was the matchup, but they got slaughtered by the Steelers, which everybody thought would be an entertaining game. It clearly wasn't. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I mean, you look at it, the Browns got hammered by the Ravens. They got hammered by the Steelers. They beat a bunch of bad teams and an okay team in between there. So, like, they lose to the good teams. They beat up the bad teams. And then they're in it with the so-so teams, and they win. Like they're that team. Remember we said it. You got the Ravens and the Steelers, then you got the Browns underneath them. Now, I think it's next week. You got the big game, the Ravens and the Steelers. I believe that's next week.
Right.
I think they're on.
It is 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock on the week 8.
Okay, that's next week. So then you'll see that how the separation. I mean, you see the separation. Cleveland probably will still sneak in the playoffs, maybe, or be that because they beat up the bad teams and they lose to the really good teams.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Cleveland being a great team. I'm
Baker.
Really not.
I don't know, these quick hooks too. They got Baker Mayfield out of there. He was playing bad. They brought in Case Keenum at one point. I know Baker was a little questionable, they say, going into the game. Odell he blew up on the sideline again. I just think, listen, I mean, they scored 7 points, right? I mean, you got to score more than that. Their defense is terrible against the Steelers. And
I didn't watch that. What happened? Odell lost it on the sideline?
Yeah, it was just something. I mean, I didn't even watch the whole game either. I saw it more on the news on that one. He just was yelling at somebody. But I mean, they're frustrated because they were playing better and they didn't even lose by 10 or 7. They got bombed.
Yeah, looking at that game, Cleveland is a 3-point favorite. I mean, they could potentially win by more, but the Bengals, man, they've been hanging tough.
And that's what they are. Burrow kept them in it. Their line stinks, but
They're
look
gritty.
Yeah, but see, they're going to be in those games. Like they should have beat the Colts. Colts got lucky. They were up 21 something. I mean, they were up big. They're going to be a feisty team this year. I don't think they'll remember week 2, there was a 35-30 on Thursday night, this game.
Right.
So this one's at Cincinnati. I still think Cleveland's going to win, but Cincinnati's going to be a losing team, but they're going to be fighting in some games this year.
I think so.
As we said.
All right, this one's interesting. 3-3 Panthers. Again, another gritty team, but better. I think they're better than Cincy, obviously. But the Panthers and the Saints, a better matchup for Bridgewater. Had a terrible game last week. Hopefully they pick back up. Now, in this one, again, Saints being a 7.5-point favorite. I think the Panthers keep it tighter than people think.
See, I don't like the Panthers. I already told you that. They're not a really good 3-3 team. Their wins came against bad teams. The Chicago, I said it on the show last week. Chicago is going to beat them. Chicago can't put 30 to 40 points up a game, so they're going to beat them by about a touchdown or so.
Right.
And they did. Carolina is not a good football team. A good defense will shut them down. And Carolina has no defense. So Chicago just did the job and they got the W.
Right.
New Orleans is going to win this game, and I'm going to take New Orleans minus the 7.5. New Orleans is playing better. Mike Thomas comes back. I just think they come out and make a statement this week at home.
Better running back right now. CMC is going to be out this game from what we're hearing. So
one more week, I believe. Yeah, but it's not going to make a difference. Carolina is an overrated 3-3.
Right. All right. Buffalo Bills and Jets. I mean, I don't need to say much about this one. Buffalo Bills, 13-point favorite, understandably so. This is going to be a slaughter fest. I'm starting Josh Allen in all my leagues in DFS as well. I mean, not much to say about this one.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Buffalo's coming off 2 straight losses against 2 top playoff teams. The AFC title last year was Kansas City and Tennessee, and both of those teams just beat the shit out of Buffalo. I mean, I think, but this is what we said a couple weeks ago. Buffalo, we will see how good they are over the next 5 weeks of the season. Remember we said that?
Yeah, and they're 0-2 right now.
The Buffalo Bills, right? They played the Tennessee Titans, got bombed. They played the Chiefs. They lost pretty big. Then they sandwich in a game with the Jets. Then they have the Patriots and the Seahawks. And honestly, they're 0-2 to start this 5-game stretch. We always said they'll beat the Jets. So they have to win, I thought, half those games. I don't see the Patriots are a little disappointment now. They have to beat the Patriots if you want to even consider them better than last year. Because remember, they beat up the Jets, the Dolphins. I mean, they came back against the Rams. They beat the Raiders. But they're that team that's like 10-6. They're not great. I think they really have to beat the Patriots and Seahawks to be considered more of a contender. But they're not a contender in my eyes. They got beat up. And they got beat up by the Titans.
Well, they got to win the next 2. So they got the Jets, Patriots, and then after that, they're going to go against the Seahawks and the Cardinals. So the Seahawks, I don't see them winning that unless they pull something out of their ass. But they definitely need to win the next 2 games for sure.
Yeah, they haven't beat the Patriots in a while, right? I don't know off the top of my head, but they can't get over that hump. And remember, we said that was important for Buffalo to see if they're the real deal or not. Are they a contender or a pretender? Right now, they're a pretender because they haven't beat a playoff team this year.
That's what they're showing. Yeah.
You can beat the Jets, Dolphins, and you can beat the Bengals. All right. Just like the Browns, but you're not a contender.
Right.
We're starting to see who the contenders and who the pretenders are right now in the NFL. And I'll tell you what, Buffalo's not a contender right now.
Yeah.
They're not.
Can't make an argument with that. But again, they did play the Chiefs. You got to understand. And the Titans looked good too. So, but again, Allen doesn't seem like he's the guy that can get these guys back into a game. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
I didn't see the guy, our team's down by 7. Let's have a game-winning drive. He just seems very anticlimactic.
Same with Lamar Jackson. He's not going to get them back in a game. I've been saying that. He's not. I mean, look at last week. The Eagles made a miraculous comeback. Eagles should have won that game. They dropped a couple big passes in the first half. All of a sudden, you have Lamar going back to the Lamar that buckles under pressure.
Right.
Okay. And so you got to be careful. I mean, this season, you're starting to see like Seattle. I mean, I'm worried about their defense, but they're starting to look like a really good football team, right? So are the Chiefs, the Titans. You know who they are.
Right.
So, I mean, on the other flip side of this, I don't want to talk about the Jets. They're the worst team I've ever seen play the goddamn game of football. So, I mean, now they're saying don't fire Adam Gase because they want the number 1 pick.
That's crazy to think like that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I just think the GM there's a disaster. He's a good player evaluator, but he's in way over his head. There's a difference between evaluating talent, Joe, and putting a team together.
He's going to ruin the career of Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, if you draft Trevor Lawrence, you need to clean house. Kind of how, remember where they got Bill Parcells a few years back and they you clean house and you give somebody really good a lot of money and the keys to the kingdom. Take someone away from another team. Just do it. Like, you better clean house if you get Trevor Lawrence.
I can't imagine him being.
But see, that's why I tell you, draft CD Lamb, draft the star. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give some presence to the city of New York and to your team. Get the best player available. Like, they're just disaster over there. It's horrible. But how do you feel being the laughing stock of the NFL? Like, it's terrible. It's terrible. And you got Frank Gore as your starting running back. He should not be any starting running back, or he shouldn't be on a team. It's just, I mean, I don't want to talk about the Jets because they don't deserve any eartime.
No, they don't. Let's move on here. Speaking of other crap, Dallas and these guys can't even decide. Washington football team. Talk about from bad to worse almost, but they squeaked out 2 wins. Dallas has 2 wins, dude. 2-4, and Washington 1-5. I mean, what's going on? And
I lost some money Monday night. I took Dallas. I thought Andy Dalton was going to come in with the red hair and just set it on fire.
No, Red Dead.
I thought he was going to do it. I thought he was going to get the W.
No, I didn't feel it. I was thinking Red Dead over Red Rifle there. I don't see the odds here. Do you see the? I don't see the odds for this game.
It's a pick'em.
Yeah, they're confused.
No, it's a pick'em.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I got it as a pick'em. I mean, listen, Dallas, their line, they lost most of their line. Ezekiel Elliott, he just doesn't look interested, doesn't give a shit. I think Dallas, honestly, a week ago, I said they're winning this division before Dak got hurt, even when your buddy, the Red Rifle, came in. Right. I said they're winning the division, but now they look terrible. The team's talking shit about the coach. I mean, Washington football team has Kyle Allen. I mean, they went for, see, this is what I'm saying, Joe. Everybody's going for 2-point conversions. Play the goddamn game of football the way it's supposed to be played. They're like Doug Peters, they're down, he scores a touchdown, right? And they're down like 11, and he doesn't kick the extra point to go down 10. He tries to go for 2 to go down 9. He's an idiot. And then he would have hit the extra point and go in overtime against the Ravens. Instead, he has to go for 2 at the end, and he misses it. And then you got this guy, Ron Rivera, going for 2. Listen, I guess I can't fault that going for 2 for the W, but that's not football. You know what I mean? Like, you got a division that you're playing for. Kick the extra point, go into overtime. The Giants have trouble scoring. Right. It's not like you're playing like, the greatest show on turf, the Rams of 1999 or whatever it is. But these teams, like these coaches, keep going for 2. It's so stupid.
We got to change the name of the show. You're the fire. I'm the ice today. I'm just chilling back.
Bad coaching. And I love Ron Rivera. He's going through a lot. I mean, I don't think he should be coaching with, it's just sad seeing that, but like, I think he's great, but like Kyle Allen is your quarterback. You can't, the Giants and the football team, it was a horrible game, right? 20-19. It came down to the end. Cowboys. I don't know. I have to take the Washington football team. I'm never betting on Dallas again.
Yeah.
I'm never how do you trust them? Their defense stinks. It's the worst defense in like 50 years. I think I just read something.
They're terrible. And what a waste of talent. You got CD Lamb there. You got Amari Cooper. You got all these great players. Zeke Elliott fumbled the ball. What, he fumbled it twice
in the first half, I think, and they were down 14.
Quarter, wasn't it? First quarter,
something like that. Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know.
I was disappointed.
Zeke, I know he's a great player. He's durable, but he doesn't have that explosive. I haven't seen him explode out for huge runs lately. Like, I don't know. Like,
do you remember running backs as the years go on, they get less and less explosive? Look at Todd Gurley, and I know he had knee issues and stuff, but even when he scored that touchdown 2 weeks ago, I think I told you the 20-yard run, he didn't look fast.
No, he doesn't look
laboring in the end zone. As guys get older, the perfect example, he's not a running back, is Gronkowski. He's like an old man out there running.
Yeah,
you just see, and listen, that's just life. Like, as you get older, you run slower. It's nothing crazy about it. It's just life. So you saw your boy Ezekiel Elliott, and he's not the best, most in shape guy in the NFL.
Right.
But listen, he's not that breakaway guy, I guess, and he's more like, I think he's going to be more that move the chains type of guy moving forward. But he's still a beast. But I just don't think he's interested anymore this year.
But Henry's got it. For a big guy like Henry, he explodes, and it's hard to catch him. Like, DBs can't even catch the guy.
Yeah, that was crazy. He's more of like a exception to the rule, I would say.
He's a freak.
He's a freak.
I love him. I absolutely love Derrick Henry.
Fast. Yeah, no, he's a great running back. I don't know how. He had that 94-yard run last week, right?
But he's a big dude. You can tell me their fastest, corner can't catch up to him and trip him and give him a shoot.
Some of these corners aren't fast. I don't know. I know speed in the NFL, and like some of these corners are like some teams like Seattle don't go for speed at the corner. They go for length. They go for the Richard Sherman. Sherman's not fast. I think he runs, probably not now, but he's probably ran like a 4.5 40 coming out or something. He's probably more of a 4.6. You're going against a 4.4 running back. You're not going to catch him. So
Right.
some of these teams go after length and they go after even like Josh Norman, you saw him get stiff arm. He was a zone corner. He has no speed. He's
Right.
never a speed guy. He was a zone coverage corner. So you're not getting a guy that's full of speed. You know what I
Right.
mean? These corners aren't always about speed on some teams. Some teams don't want the speed. They want more, like I said, more length. I mean, everybody in a perfect world, you'd have a guy that can run a 4.3 at every position, at every corner, but you can't do that. It's just not practical. They don't make them like that. So, and
All right.
just because you have speed doesn't mean you're good.
Let's move on here. Green Bay and
Oh.
Texans. Speaking of speed, a guy has been looking really slow. Green Bay at Texas. David Johnson, another guy, looks friggin' sluggish, man. I don't know what to tell you about this guy. He looks slow again. I thought maybe this year he'd look better. I don't know what's going on. He's just not looking explosive to me, man. I don't know. Aaron Jones looks okay. Aaron Jones looks good. He's more of a receiver, I find. He lines up as a receiver, does well. They're having issues at receiver. I don't think the other guys are stepping up. Marquise Valdez-Scantling, he can't be reliable. I've watched him.
No.
Can't trust him. Lazard, hopefully he gets back soon enough. I don't know how long he's out for, but I don't know, man. They just don't look that. I mean, Rodgers looked deflated last week, and it's every time I start him in fantasy, he craps the bed. So I'm just not going to start him anymore. I can't trust him.
See, that's why I took
Yeah.
Tampa Bay. I took them last week. I bet on them and I won. You want to know why? Because Tampa Bay is getting better as the season goes along. Green Bay, I think they're going to be like last year. They're going to get bombed in the playoffs. They don't have a great defense, number one. Number two, you're right. They don't have the receivers and the weapons. They didn't get Rodgers any help. And it doesn't have to be in the draft. They could have got Robbie Anderson or somebody like that, your guy. And why not get a guy like that? It makes zero sense. They don't like to spend in free agency. And you know what? That's why they don't win Super Bowls in Green Bay anymore. When's the last time they won? 10 years ago? They could have done so much more with Aaron Rodgers. And it's a shame that they do not put the best team around him all the time. So, and that's been their philosophy, build through the draft. But you need look at the Patriots. They got Stephon Gilmore in free agency. They supplement their draft picks with good players. And you can't always hit home runs in that, but you got to take chances. And they don't take enough chances in Green Bay to put Aaron Rodgers in the best position possible. And honestly, he's probably going to be gone next year or the year after. He even was on an interview and he's like, listen, it's going to end, whether it's this year or next year, whatever. He knows it. So this is a really good football game. I think the Texans, listen, they came out and they got a win a couple weeks ago. Then they came out and they should have beat Tennessee. And I think Green Bay's coming off a loss. They got exposed. The Texans, the problem is they don't have a really good defense. David Johnson doesn't have a good offensive line. I don't think David Johnson's the problem. I think it's the play calling and I think it's the offensive line. But I do think, and I will give credit because I was ragging on him early, Deshaun Watson stepped up the last two games with Bill O'Brien not there. Remember I called him out a couple of weeks ago? Well, he stepped up.
They did. They need another win again, 1-5 here. Now Packers 3.5-point favorite, but you got a desperate Texans team. And again, Aaron Rodgers on the road concerns me. So I think that's going to be an entertaining game. That's the game I will be watching at 1 o'clock.
Really?
There's no other game I'll be watching. And that and Steelers and Texans. I mean, Texans, Steelers. I'll be going back and forth
to watch that
between those two games at 1 o'clock. That's it. Those are the only two games I'll be watching. I don't care about the Jets. All right, let's move on here. Seahawks and Cardinals. I'm not a Cardinals fan. Somehow miraculously they're at 4-2. Seahawks are going to do away with them here. They're a 3.5-point favorite. I mean, I'm just not sold on Arizona being a good team. Kenyon Drake sucks. Kyler Murray's always scrambling. I mean, people say he's good. I'm not sold on him being a good quarterback.
Well, this is the same as what we spoke about before. They beat the 49ers in week 1. Okay. They beat the Washington football teams. They lost to the Lions, lost to the Panthers, two not really good football teams. The Lions are better. They beat the Jets and they beat the Cowboys. You beat two of the worst defenses in the NFL, and the Jets and the Cowboys.
Right.
You have nothing to brag about, Arizona. You
No.
have nothing to brag about. Okay. You're 4-2. I get that. And now they're playing the Seahawks and then they play the Dolphins where 2 is starting. We can talk about that in a minute, but I'm with you, man. I don't think the Cardinals are that good. And I've been saying that, and they don't have any impressive wins besides, I guess you can say week 1, the 49ers are erratic this year.
They're banged up. They're really banged up though. Yeah.
And they're erratic and then, they're erratic. So beat the Seahawks and then we'll talk. And then I'll let you in my power ranking top 10, but I don't think they're even close.
All right. 49ers and Patriots here. Patriots 2.5-point favorite. This is another disaster of a game. Like, who's going to win this one?
You think it's a disaster of a game? I think the Patriots.
Uncertainty. Is what I mean. Like,
I know.
You don't know what you're going to get. Which 49ers are coming out. You know what I mean?
That's funny because last week Garoppolo just can't. He seems hurt, but he doesn't throw a far ball. They don't let him sling it.
No.
And that same thing. What's that team you just said that can't come back? I forgot. You mentioned a team earlier that doesn't come back.
Who was I talking about here? It was
Bills and Josh Allen. Well, I don't think the 49ers can come back from much either.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the ability to throw it downfield. I think they do too many reverses and trick plays, and the gimmick shit catches up with you. I'm going New England at home. I think Cam Newton comes back. New England makes a statement. Belichick doesn't lose 2 in a row. How many times has he lost 2 in a row? Very, very rare.
I see that as well.
I think they come out and they just beat the shit out of the Niners. I mean, the Niners lost Mostert again. I mean, he was playing in the it was like 40 seconds left and they got him in the game running a 2-minute drill. Just stupid. I think that Kyle Shanahan experience coaching starting to come out, and you start to see that, he had some good season, that OC in Atlanta. He had a good season last year, but I think you're starting to see some of the flaws there.
Right.
In San Fran. And I think you're starting to see some of the flaws, Joe, that they don't have a great offense put together. You got Garoppolo, and then you don't have a star running back. Mostert, remember we said this, he's never, like Eckler, he's never been an every down back. Never. So now you bring him in as an every down back and he gets hurt.
Exactly. A lot of people are doing that. They think that Drake and all these guys, Mostert, are the full Eckler. They're not full workhorse running backs, yet they continue to go. But I can see that. I don't know. I'm not the coach, but I can see. I can see it. Why can't they see that?
You get inexperience looking at yards per carries. And, this guy averages 7 yards per carry. He should be a starter. No, that's not how it works. You see that a lot by people that don't know how to analyze football. They'll just look at the yards per carry.
So let me ask you this, though. So a guy like Drake, who was a backup in Miami for years, okay? Yeah. And then now they're trying to make him a starter. Eckler, who's always behind Melvin Gordon. There were reasons why these guys were always backups. So don't you got to credit those coaches for seeing their shitty talent? Now all these new coaches are the idiots because they're the ones thinking that they can mold these guys into Derrick Henrys, but they're not. So shouldn't the guys that had these guys on the bench get more credit, Tom?
Of course. I mean, they produced there. Yeah. I mean, just look the writings on the wall. With Kenyon Drake has never been good. He never will be good in the NFL. He's a backup running back. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He had a nice long run last week against the Jets. Okay, but you're getting paid $8 million this year. Make a run. But even Melvin Gordon, we're seeing that he's not that good. He's an above average running back, 1,000-yard guy. That's what he is, right? Eckler is that guy that comes in, gets, like maybe 6 to 10 rushes a game, gets some receptions,
like
obviously.
Like a Tariq Cohen.
Yeah, like a third down back on steroids. Like he's better than a third down back, right?
Yeah.
A little better than that. A little bit better. Like, the old school third down backs. So, yeah, you're right. Some of those coaches, listen, these coaches want to win, and coaches make, bad decisions or mistakes even. And some guys, but there's a reason also why Eckler never got drafted. I mean, not that it always means everything because you can't tell coming out of college, but I think Drake was a middle round picks. I don't know, a second, third round pick or something like that. But, Eckler, listen, I like the Eckler story, but if he sticks to what he does, he's great at it. Right. And I think he'll be good there with Herbert, but they need a guy to complement him in the backfield, taking 15 carries a game.
Right. Now there was why is it that these running backs always get offended when I say they suck? There's a lot of egos because I've had Leonard Fournette reply back to me, Le'Veon Bell, Austin Eckler, and now recently Alexander Madison when I said he sucked. And he did. He had a terrible performance when he could have came in and stepped in for Dalvin Cook. A lot of people started him in his fantasy leagues. And he told me to shut the F up is what Madison said. And I said I'd be bitter too if I had 2.6 yards per carry. He's like, I'm not bitter, bro. It's just I don't know what his excuse was, but anyway, either way, these guys all replying to my stuff when I say they suck.
They don't give a shit about fantasy football. I mean, one. So obviously they're like, hey, listen, the guy had his chance to be, come out game and kind of put it on the showcase. I think he's got another year on his contract left, but he's disappointed. He's hurt. He didn't play well. And I think they're all human beings and they all take it personal.
But that's how we know a lot of people wouldn't know who Alexander Madison was unless they played fantasy football. They're only relevant.
I agree with that. Not everybody, but yeah. Some guys like him.
90% of these guys, we wouldn't even know who they are. I'm telling you, fantasy has made.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's over 60, 70 million people that play fantasy football across North America. That is the reason a lot of these guys are even relevant, right? So
that's true.
You got to care. You got to care about fantasy football. I mean, you don't have to talk about it. You got to give some sort of credit to it. You got to acknowledge it, right? Don't say, I don't care about fantasy.
Yeah, but you got to look at it different. The NFL is a $15 billion a year business. The coaches get paid to win. If not, they're out. The players, they got to perform and win. So like, but the coaches, also the players aren't asked to put up stats. They're asked to do what what the coach says and to win games. And now obviously usually putting up good stats, it leads to that. But I just think you're right though. It's a really good point. You wouldn't know who a lot of these guys are, especially the smaller market teams like the running back in Jacksonville. Nobody knows who he is.
No,
you only know who he is if you play fantasy football or you're his family and friends or you're a Jacksonville Jaguars diehard, right? So that's a good point. But I mean, these guys I think are human and they do understand that. Hey, listen, man, relax. It sucks. Like they don't want to
people. So are the people
rubbing it in their face though. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but so are the people that play fantasy football. We're human as well, and it is $1 billion industry with FanDuel, DraftKings, and the sports betting and all that. It is a huge business, and we are humans as well, and we have teams. These teams are virtual teams, and we care about our teams. And I think that the players should acknowledge the fantasy industry. I mean, some of them do, not all of them, and say, "Hey, man, I did my best. Sorry, guys. Next time." Or like,
yeah, I just don't like they think maybe they think you're being abrasive, rubbing it in their face or something like that. But I think
have to be. I have to be.
That's a different story, but I think they should just ignore it. And listen, it's part of being an athlete, part of making the money. It's part of being in the public limelight, because they wouldn't be making money if it wasn't for all the fans, going into the stands, buying their jerseys. And a lot of that, you're right, does come from fantasy. Where does all the revenue come from? The TV deals. Right? It's a lot of the revenue. So from the TV deals, you get a lot of fantasy people that sit there and watch games all day, even gambling. I remember even Gurley said a couple years ago, somebody said, like, remember he kneeled at the end zone and somebody said, man, I could have got the over or something like that.
Well,
he's like, remember, like, he's like, yeah.
They did a TV show on that on HBO or no, Showtime. There was a show on that on betting, and they actually took a clip of my YouTube video and put it into that episode where I said Todd Gurley sucks or something like that. Yeah.
See, he did that and he's like, I don't care about the over or whatever his words were. You can look it up. And, they don't need to care about the over. They just got to get paid to do what the coach says. But on the flip side, if there's no fans, they don't make the money.
Exactly.
Right? The fans are who watches TV. You're watching 6 games at a time, minus the Jets and the Washington football team and the scrubs, right? But you will watch the Giants if Barkley was playing and they were 0-10, right? You would still watch them because he would be your running back.
Exactly.
So they need to understand, I guess, that's why you have a job, because of the fans. And that's the only reason they're making the money they make, because of the fans. If there's no fans, there's no money, there's no football, or you can be the XFL and the spring league and you can be in and out of existence. I mean, the Rock is going the XFL.
Or the CFL. Like, I couldn't name you one CFL player, nor do I care. So
no, but see, like, that's one thing they have to understand. They do not make the money at all if there's no fans.
Exactly.
The fans are the ones who watch the games on TV. That's it. And a lot of that's gambling. A lot of that's fantasy. But I mean, I think they're just mad that you're rubbing it in their face. Maybe, it's a different story for a different day. But I will tell you for a fact that some of the guys, they will read all the comments, and other players that I've known throughout the years will not even look at anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Just they're people though. Like Eckler, you got to understand, he didn't play at a big Alabama school or a big school like that. He went to a small school, was a D2 or something, whatever it was. So he's probably not used to being in the limelight. You know what I mean? Not used to having fans. There was probably 100 fans in the stands at his game. No, 1,000 or something. I don't know. So you also got to remember where they come from too. So that some of the guys are like happy to be on Instagram and on Twitter, and in the news. Other guys, you go to Alabama, you're playing for the national title every year. You're used to it, and you're coached up by Saban. But so that's my take on that.
All right, let's move on here. Kansas City Chiefs and the Broncos here. Chiefs 9.5 point favorite. I don't need to dive into this. Chiefs are going to win this game. 5-1 versus 2-3 Broncos. Drew Lock versus Pat Mahomes. I mean, this is not even a debate.
No, it's not a debate, but I will say it might be closer than you think if the Broncos defense can do what they did last week. They have a good defense. We know that. They have a great, a good defensive coach, but man, Drew Lock, Patriots have a good D too, but Drew Lock dropped an egg, I mean, he just, it was terrible. I was expecting a little bit better from him.
I mean, 10 for 24, 189 yards, 2 interceptions. Unacceptable, man. Unacceptable, Drew Lock. I mean, you could say he's still getting comfortable in that offense, but you got to pick it up. You're supposed to be the franchise guy. Let's pick it up. Let's step up. And again, you see the goods and you see the greats. Like Pat Mahomes didn't look like this, 6 weeks in his his season when he first got out there. You can see that talent emerge quicker than you think. You know what I mean? And these guys that emerged 3 and 4 years after, the Kenyon Drakes, the Ecklers, years to, this is why I created the saying, years to wow me, I'm not wowed. I'm
Yeah.
not wowed already with Drew Lock. What's to say he's going to be the next John Elway?
I like the way he finished last year, but we have to speak about this for a minute. I was a little surprised it happened right now, but Tua is starting. So like you said with Drew Lock, is this a good place to start Tua?
I don't know, man. I mean, why are they starting? I mean, I know he came in at the end of the game. I didn't watch it. He came in. I don't know how good he did. I saw him
2 for 2, 9 yards. I mean, he just had a drive, 2 for 2, 9 yards. Nothing good or bad.
So why the switch now? I don't understand.
Because remember, Fitzpatrick doesn't go to the playoffs. Fitzpatrick, they're 3-3. They played some bad teams, right? But let me tell you why. In Brian Flores, I like the guy as a coach. They're turning that team around. Ryan Fitzpatrick will not. Remember, I spoke to this about Tyrod Taylor. If he's got them at like 6-6 at some point, you're not going to make the playoffs with him or get far. You're not going to make the playoffs with Fitzpatrick. But if Tua comes in, can give you that jolt where you can actually be better, you got to take the chance eventually because you're not going to go anywhere with Fitzpatrick. But he's got you to 3-3. So if Tua comes in and is playing like Herbert on a Miami team, then you have it. And he sees the AFC East. Oh, all of a sudden, they're in first place in the AFC East, right?
Right.
They're in second place. Buffalo's 4-2.
Yeah.
Miami's 3-3. They're in playoff contention. But you're not going far with Fitzpatrick, right?
Yeah.
So you might as well give it a shot this season if you want to make the playoffs. This is the time you make the move because you're 3-3.
All in.
If he goes 5-5 the rest of the way, they could sneak in at 8-8 because of the 7 team. But Fitzpatrick's not going 5-5, I don't think, with their schedule. Or if he goes 6-4, you have a better chance to be a little bit better with Tua than you do with Fitzpatrick. In worst case, you don't do that good. You get a little bit better draft pick, and then I think you got the Texans draft pick this year as well, I believe, from the Tunsil trade. But I mean, you see how it turns out. I thought they were going to give Fitzpatrick another week or two.
And you're throwing him against the Rams. So maybe they just feel Tua is going to be better matched up versus the Rams. This is not an easy matchup for Fitzmagic, and they kind of calculated that. But either way, I like the all in. I like the people that take like that. It's just like, it's kind of like in poker, right? Like you got to go all, that you're on your last stack. You kind of bluff it all in. You could be bluffing. It could be for real.
Remember a couple years ago when Tyrod Taylor took the Bills to the playoffs, but you knew he wasn't going to win a game. Right. So what do? Sometimes you're going to take a step back to take 2 forward. So Tyrod Taylor may be able to get you a few years ago to the playoffs, right? But he's not going to win a game. He can't throw the ball. So you're going to have to get a guy that hey, maybe this guy's got it right now. He learned a little bit for the first 6 games. We have a bye. Let's see what we got. Right. Because you're not going anywhere where you are, or that hump is right here, right now. Will Fitzpatrick get you here? No way. He's bound to get you under the hump, but 2 is the only chance you have. And you picked him number 5 in the draft. Let's see what he's got. I want to see him play.
Yeah,
but that's 2 weeks from now.
All right, Jacksonville Jaguars and the LA Chargers. Three more matches to go here. Chargers 8-point favorite here. Jacksonville, your guy Minshew just not looking. The mustache didn't look good. So my Tannehill is better than your Minshew.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. You know what? He's very disappointing me the last couple of weeks. I'm blaming on the team around him. I don't think it's all his fault, but he should be playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not playing horrible. He's just, I get what you're saying though. It's kind of terrible over there.
I mean, 1-4. I mean, there's so many bad records this year, but 1-4 Chargers, 1-5 Jacksonville, Chargers 8-point. I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think Jacksonville keeps it closer than people think here, but I mean, you never know.
Where's the game in LA? Yeah. You're right. I mean, it's a 49-point game. All these overs are so high too. I mean, it's out of control.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean, Jacksonville, I think they're going to get a couple wins, and I think they could upset the Chargers here. I mean, the Chargers, they have trouble getting wins, the Chargers do, but they're in games too, but they're a little bit better than the Jaguars. They've been in some games this year, right?
Right.
I don't know if, you got the Chargers in this one.
No, I think Jacksonville keeps it close. Yeah, Chargers win it, but Jacksonville keeps it close. I think 8 points is a bit of a stretch here.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I mean, the Chargers only have one win, and that was against the Bengals. They lost to the Chiefs, kept it close. They lost to the Panthers, kept it close. They lost to the Bucks. They were only in that because of the pick sixes, and they lost to the Saints. And they should have won that game. They're in every game, and they're all close games.
But then
So
again, Jacksonville loses by a lot. I mean, they lost to the Bengals by 8, right? They lost to the Texans by a lot. It was 30-14. And they lost last week by a significant margin, 34-16. So I kind of
the
see why this,
Dolphins too. Remember?
yeah, I can kind of see why the spread's at 8 for sure. But I mean, Jacksonville's going to, I think it's going to be a trap game. I think Jacksonville, it's got to have a game that they're going to
Yeah,
emerge. It could be the trick game that you got to watch out for.
I think they come in and keep this competitive as well.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not like you're looking at the Chargers who are sitting there at 5-1 or 4-1. They're at 1-4, right? We're not
Yeah,
looking at a
these are
superstar
two
team here.
shitty teams playing. Because at the end of the day, even though we make fun of Arizona, they still got 4 wins. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so at the end of the day, a W is a W, I guess. But like, but sometimes, like, look at the Jets last year finished 6-2, but that was like a bunch of BS, right?
right.
So you still got to see it's a long season. We're only in, 6 weeks in. Some teams only played 5 games, so we still got over 10 games to go for most teams, right? So we'll see. But you're right. I think I like to see an upset in Jacksonville in this one.
Now we're disappointed on Thursday with a terrible game, but Monday night, Sunday and Monday night, both good games. Buccaneers versus Raiders. This is going to be a really good matchup. I will be watching this, and then Monday night, Bears versus Rams. How about this? Bucks or Raiders? Bucks 3-point favorite here. What do you think?
I think Tampa Bay is the better football team. The Raiders, they did beat the Chiefs. A little letdown for the Chiefs. Chiefs look a little vulnerable this year compared to last year. They've been in some close games, overtime against the Chargers. The Patriots kept them close. So I think the Raiders, they really need those offensive weapons. Ruggs over there with the speed looks really good. I told you this before. Tampa Bay, when they get all their weapons back, and as Brady gets comfortable with that coach and that offense, they will play better and better and better every single game, and they keep putting up points. Brady still doesn't look spectacular, but I will tell you this, their defense is really, really good. So this game's going to come down to Tampa Bay defense and the Raiders offense. So you got to remember something. Chiefs don't have a good defense. I'm taking Tampa Bay. I'm taking them on the road, and I'm taking them to win by a touchdown.
Fair enough. All right, we'll move on to the final game. Bears, Rams, another team that and the Rams are a 5.5-point favorite. Again, I think Vegas knows that the Bears don't really deserve a 5-1 record. I don't know. I just don't think they're that good. And yet they still got 5-1. So a lot of teams, and we're gonna start filtering them out soon. We're gonna find out, separate the men from the boys here. But I mean, the Bears, I don't see them at 5. I can't believe they have 5 wins.
The Bears?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they came back against week 1, right? Against the Detroit Lions. I mean, the Bears are that this could have been a loss. They beat the Giants. They came back.
Barely.
They all
Beat the
barely.
Giants in
The
week 2.
Falcons, they came back. The Colts, they lost. The Bucks, they lost. No, they would beat the Bucks by 1. But see, they have a good defense. Remember, I told you at the beginning of the season they should stick with Foles because he'll keep them in the games, and their defense will keep them in the games too. So they're not gonna blow anybody out. Maybe once a year. They're not gonna get blown out, right?
Yeah.
Because of the defense. So they're going to be a tough team, but they're probably going to end up a 10-6 team or something, but they are 5-1. So they got a couple lucky wins. Maybe they can win 11 games, but they still have to play the Packers twice, right? They still have to play the Lions again in that division, and they still have to play
Saints next week.
Next they get the Rams, Saints, and Titans.
Wow.
And then they have the Vikings, Packers, Lions, Texans, Vikings, Jags, Packers. So
they will be tested. They will be tested the next couple weeks.
They're going to lose some of these games for sure. But it's going to come down their defense. Remember, I told you, if the game stays under 40, 45 points, they'll win a lot of those games. If it starts to hit the 50 mark, they're going to lose because they can't score.
Right.
And there's only so much comeback you can do. So I like the Rams. But see, the Rams dropped an egg last week, man.
I know.
It's like, and I watched that game and I kept thinking they were coming back. If it was like 2 more quarters, I think they would have came back. But it's like it was like that Buffalo game. But then they came back in the 3rd quarter, remember? And then the 4th, and then Buffalo won. I don't know, man. The Bears look good, but they don't look scary. Like you're not scared of them. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, they're just safe. They just get whatever needs to be done, and that's it. I don't see them going very far this year. I'm worried because I liked Montgomery. Don't think I'm a Bears fan by any means.
So, okay, let's segue into the power rankings. Who do you got for the top 5? Since we're talking 5-1 Bears.
Let me pull this up here. I gotta pull it up. Man, this is tough. I still think the Chiefs are number one. Can we agree with that?
I mean, it's either the Chiefs or the Steelers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Steelers. I guess that's a tough one, man. I'm going Pittsburgh because they're 5-0 and they're
Better
blowing teams
defense.
out.
They have
Yeah, I'm
better
going
defense.
Pittsburgh 1, Kansas City 2.
Wow. I don't know, man. I'm the offense. I mean, if Claypool gets going, I think there could be something special there, and I think he's got a true one there with him. So, yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs. I'm gonna go Steelers. Number 3. This one's a tough one, man. I mean, you could make a debate here. Would you? You're not gonna like it, but maybe Tennessee should be somewhere in there.
I mean, I can't
Packers,
disagree with you. The
Packers,
Seattle
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Well, you can't do the Packers. I think Tampa Bay's on fire right now. I mean, well, they lost to Chicago a couple weeks ago.
I'm gonna go Seattle. I'm gonna go Seattle
I
here at
agree.
3. All right,
Tennessee at
Pittsburgh and
4.
Seattle. Who's that for?
Tennessee at 4.
I'd say so. Tennessee at 4, and then number 5.
5 has got to be Baltimore.
Really, I don't know Baltimore. I just
I don't like
know.
them either, but I mean, their only losses against the Chiefs.
I'd say
So who
Bucs
do you?
then.
So you got Buffalo, you got Baltimore.
Baltimore, I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on Baltimore, and on Buffalo, I'm not sold on either. I think the Buffalo is an imposter.
All right, so what about Baltimore, Buffalo, the Bears, the Packers, the Buccaneers? Out of those teams,
But nobody's sensational. Nobody's like, wow, this team is like. I mean, maybe the Chiefs.
All those teams are kind of equal.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I still think they're just trying to work it out. But yeah, I'd have to go Chiefs. I got to put the Seahawks in there. I think Russell Wilson can really help them.
See, eventually, I think you put Tampa, but they just lost to Chicago, so you can't put them over Tampa yet.
I think Tampa's better than they're advertised. I think they're gonna get in there because they've been injured.
Yeah,
right?
I think
They've had
so.
Godwin
Yeah.
injured. I mean, Gronkowski wasn't getting into the groove. Rojo's finally hit his stride. I think they're kind of finding their self. I think Tampa, and I'm a conspiracy guy, and I feel that maybe Brady's gonna get his last Super Bowl, and it's gonna be worked that way. So I think the Bucs are gonna surprise a lot of people. I kind of said that at the beginning of the season.
They're going to get stronger as the season goes on. I mean, you can't put Green Bay over Tampa, but then also you got Chicago who just beat Tampa. But I still think Tampa's the better football team than Chicago. I mean, Buffalo, I cannot put Buffalo 5 because they stunk against 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
But the Ravens, I mean, I'm not a Ravens guy either. So I just think they're going to end up in the playoffs and then losing it. I don't think the Ravens are that good. Like as good as people think they are.
Did you say when did the Bears beat the Bucs? What week did that? I think you said that
2 weeks ago on Thursday night, remember?
Oh, did they?
20-19.
That's right. Yeah, 2019. That was a close one. That's right. Okay, October 8th. Okay.
So it's hard. Like,
all right. Well, that's it, Tom. There's our power rankings.
I mean, you can't really say Buffalo. They lost to 2 teams, but yeah, that sounds good.
All right, Tom. Thanks for being here, man. There's our NFL Week 7 preview, Fire and Ice show. Covered every episode, every matchup going into Week 7. Tom, I'm excited about this week, man. I got a couple good ones this week.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. I'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys. Smash thumbs up, guys, and get ready. I can't believe it's Week 7 already. We'll talk soon.
Crazy.
We're out.